Good afternoon, members of the media, everybody joining us. We've got, I think, other people that are streaming, even on the SuperSport platforms. We are there, so greetings to everyone joining this press conference. We are now moving on to the second semi-final of the day on Saturday, or it will be in the evening, kicking off at 1800 hours at the Danny Craven Stadium. Will be Stellenbosch, the home side. They will be hosting Sekhukhune United in the first leg semi-final of the MTN 8. And joining us today will be the awaiting coach, Coach Eric Tinkler, just to preview that fixture. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. I know you just came back from the Limpopo, the beautiful Limpopo province, where you had a fixture there last night. But just maybe thoughts. I know you probably would not had any training session post that fixture, but just your thoughts and your impressions of the first leg, and then what sort of approach should we expect from Sekhukhune United?
Yeah, good afternoon to all. Obviously, last night we traveled back after the game. We only arrived here at 3 p.m. I think I only got to bed at 5 this morning. That's why I'm a little bit late for this conference. So my apologies there. Obviously, the semi-final against Stellenbosch, massive game. Very, very good team over the past 2 seasons. Has surprised many with the performances that they have put on and where they've finished in the league. My personal record as a coach against them is not brilliant, and hopefully we can go there and not only change my fortune against them, but obviously also Sekhukune's fortunes in terms of trying to reach the MTN 8 final. Not going to be easy. Very, very difficult team to play, especially at Danny Craven. They get a very, very good support base when they play at Danny Craven versus when they play at Athlone or at the DHL Stadium. So we know it's not going to be very easy. A team that's really built on the counter-attack. They're a team that looks to play off your mistakes. So we're really going to have to be at our best come Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. Am I on? Okay. Colleagues, I'm not sure if it's just myself. I think I'm getting a bit of feedback. I'm not sure if it's the same. Can we just sort it out? Do we need to move microphones around? Because it will be... I would rather delay if we need to sort it out first. We need to make sure that we get the right message, as per the words of the coaches here. Yeah, I think it might be the speakers. I'm not sure. Maybe the positioning, if we can. I don't know. Yeah? Yeah. The sound guys, can you please just attend to it, guys? Are we all good now? Is this better? Okay, all right, we should be fine then. Let's now take questions from the floor. We've got a roving microphone. Just by show of hands, we'll take the first one. Yeah, this is sound.
Your personal record against them is not that great. What is it about Stellenbosch that's making such a tough team to break down?
Yeah, like I said, they're a team that defend extremely well, and they look to try and capitalize on the mistakes that you make. And me as a coach, I'm a possession-based coach. I'm an attacking coach. I want the team to go forward. And, the history tells you that when I do that, we tend to get punished on the counter-attack, So maybe my approach this game has to be slightly different. But I think it's not only me, it's majority of the teams that they play. A lot of the goals they score come from transitional phase. which they're extremely good at.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go to the next question. I see a hand. Tsepang on my left-hand side. Tsepang from Soccer Ladu.
Coach,
Did you have a follow-up, Njabu? You sorted. Okay, thank you.
Coach, you've got Midupi Tukulo at the back there, who's coming from Kazrik. Just please take us through the scouting process of finding him and bringing him into the team, and what do you make of how he's adjusted to top-flight football in such a short space of time?
Yeah, obviously when I joined Sekhukhune, we came to realize that one department of the team that we needed to strengthen was centre-back. And we started scouting. We were looking at quite a few players, some at bigger clubs. And the CEO, Jonas, told me about the young boy at Kazrik, and I obviously watched him against Cape Town City in the playoffs, both home and away. And obviously what I saw from those two matches, I was pretty happy with what I saw, although on the ball I wasn't too sure because the brand of football that Kazrik play is very different. But the defensive qualities that he showed was very, very good. And I think, I like giving young players opportunities, and I told Jonas, let's sign him, let's bring him in, and maybe he'll be one for the future. We'll groom him. But after a week's worth of training, I came to realize he's actually better than what I thought, and threw him straight in. So I think, he's got a bright future as long as he stays grounded. He's got 2 Man of the Match awards so far. But yeah, too much media attention sometimes can send you in the wrong direction. So hopefully he stays grounded.
Okay, Coach, we'll move on to the next question. Is your hand up? Okay, let's go to Hutato.
Coach, you go into this game with a bit of momentum. You've played 3 games so far that you've seen. You've won all 3 games. Is this an advantage for you heading into this game, that saying that your team is more confident now to say that you found your style of play and the rhythm of how you want them actually to perform with the season going forward?
I don't think it's an advantage. In my opinion, yes, we've won these 3 games, but I don't think we've performed extremely well. I think there's still a lot of room for improvement, both defensively and offensively. And as I stated, a team like Stellenbosch, if you give them the ball, they will punish you. And our game last night, as an example, we gave possession away far too easily. As much as we had to ground out the result, and we ended up winning the match, we've shown great character and fight in all the games that we've played, but I don't think that we've performed extremely well in any of the games. And, that can come back and bite you. So obviously that's something that we've made the players aware last night, both at halftime and after the game. Tomorrow we'll obviously just assess the squad, assess the starting 11, but we need to make the players aware that, that's going to be the biggest threat that they will pose, is when we give the ball away cheaply. So, yeah, very happy that we've started extremely well, to win 3 games on a row. But at the same time, my experience tells me that the way we're performing, we need to get better.
Right, let's move the mic to Lawrence.
Here from Legacy Times, there was some murmurs that Keletso Makhawa was a bit unsettled during pre-season. Have you sorted things out with him as a head coach, put your arm around him? Is he in the right state of mind? Obviously, he's played all the games, he's done really well, but going forward for the season? Is he in the right frame of mind?
Yeah, I think I've had that conversation. We've had that conversation a couple of times already. I tend to disagree. I don't think Coletto's done that well in the 3 games that he's played. First game, yes, he had an assist, but that was from a corner. But he hasn't really created many opportunities for himself or for others in these last 2 matches. There's always those rumours, especially after having been elected as player of the season, most assists, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of that comes down to the media. Not always the media, sometimes it's actually more the agent that starts putting out that information. And we've made Coletto aware that we'll never stand in his way of getting a better contract somewhere else. But there needs to be an offer. And there hasn't been. So it's all talk. You know, and what he must be aware of is that he's a professional footballer, has a contract with Sekhukhune United, and he needs to duplicate what he did last season. Because then people will take him more serious. Then it won't be just hearsay from the agent and from the press. You know, the clubs will be contacting Sekhukhune.
Okay, let's go to Veli Damiano.
Yes. Coach, Vele here. I just want to, when you look at your history, especially from Cape Town City, Supersport, you've always risen with teams that maybe would be seen not as teams that would be chasing for trophies. There's also, I think, especially in the footballing space, a general feeling now about the stability of this club, Sekhukhune, and how they've done in recent seasons. When you look, especially even in the recruitment this season, the balance as well. You feel that now this season, this is really a season where this team should be going for a trophy.
Has to. That's the mandate I've been given. So, yeah, I think, you know, we've obviously assembled what we believe to be a strong and competitive squad. We were very busy over the off-season to ensure that we could bring in players of the caliber required to ensure that Sekhukhune finish in the top 4. Our objective, our aim is to the chairman has a long-term project for the club and a long-term vision. The introduction of a few more younger players, especially this season versus last season. So, you know, and the chairman is obviously entrusted in me to try and bring success to Sekhukhune United, and that's going to be my purpose and my objective. No different to my purpose and objective when I was at other clubs. I'm an ambitious coach. I want to win things. I want to achieve things. So yeah, we just go on day by day trying to achieve that.
Thank you, Coach. We'll take the last round of questions, just by show of hands. We'll go to Temba first. Temba Shannon from Josie FM.
Thanks for the intro. Coach, you've got one of the most talented and experienced squads in the league by far. Just take us through you working with them and what will it take for you not to win this one, looking at what you have in terms of personnel.
Yeah, I think the hard part really is what we currently find ourselves in. You know, it's a pity that everything has to be congested and squeezed into 1 month. You know, you're competing for the league and you're playing a massive competition like the MTN8. The recovery process, I can see our performance last night was not great. A lot of it is down to the fact that there's such a congestion. 8 games in a space of a month is a lot of games, you know, and last night only getting back at 3 a.m., having training now at 1 o'clock this afternoon, puts a lot of strain on the players, and it becomes very, very difficult to ensure that you're going to get the best out of each player game by game. So, you know, a lot of hard work on my part, being able to assess who's recovered, who hasn't recovered, who's in the right frame of mind, who isn't, because there's a lot of pressure that the players have to go through. Game after game, every 3 days there's a game, and their expectation is to achieve and win. And that's not easy process, very, very difficult process. But I think what becomes important is how I carry myself. I need to continue showing enthusiasm as much as I had a very, very late night. When I go to training, I need to show that enthusiasm that the players can feed off. So I think, you know, that becomes very, very important, but not an easy task, you know. We go to Stellenbosch, we play Saturday, Tuesday we got to play Orbit, and then we got the second leg, and then we've still got Amazulu and Durban City immediately after that, and that's all in the space of, we say, yeah, Europe, you see it happen, but, you know, it's a 5-hour drive to Polokwane. It's another 2-hour flight down to Cape Town, but you got to be there 2 hours before. So, you know, the time frame is quite hectic. We probably had a benefit to a degree that the game against Orbit has been moved to Dobsonville. But that would have been another trip, you know, making our way to Rustenburg. So it's not easy. It's very, very difficult for the players and also for the technical staff to ensure that everybody's recovered in time to give another 100% the following match.
All right, we'll take the last few questions, if any. I see my left-hand side, Maskepe. Can get the microphone to him. Maskepe from Power FM is on your left-hand side, Coach. I'm sure you won't be able to see him. No?
Yeah, I just have to stand. It's fine. Coach Maskepe from Power FM. I just want to get from you, Coach, what have you made of, and I think it's something that we maybe see almost every time at the beginning of the season, what have you made of the quality of the football as well as the quality of the pitches as well? Because, I mean, from what I have seen, you know, it looks like, you know, it's still a bit, when you look at maybe the mid-season and so on, it's a bit behind. What needs to happen so that even at the beginning we can have, you know, the level of football that, you know, one would be happy with?
I think, let me start with the fields. Fields are always a complication in South Africa because we share a number of stadiums with rugby. And that's always going to be a major issue because the standard and the quality of a football pitch versus the standard and quality of a rugby pitch, they could actually play on dirt. It didn't really matter. But football, we need a flat surface. We need a good surface in order to be able to play a brand of football that is going to be entertaining to the fans. When you're playing on a very, very bumpy pitch, it makes playing an attractive game of football very, very difficult for the players. And then people might assume that, you know, the brand of football is poor. I do tend to agree. There's been a couple of games that I myself have watched so far this season where the brand football hasn't been great. Some of it is down to preparation. Some clubs started a lot later their pre-season than others. Some of the stadiums that we've seen, the condition of their fields are not the greatest, which is the reality of South Africa, especially Joburg. We're training on a field in Benoni Northerns. during the winter months. We know the grass doesn't really grow. The pitches are extremely hard because we don't have rain. Versus down in Cape Town, it's a wet winter. The fields are slightly better, those that are in good condition, because there is growth, so it makes it difficult. You know, I look at Bloem, the Free State Stadium. I watched the game there recently. There was competition there, and it took a beating and it wasn't in great condition. Yeah, it's hard, you know. We would like to be playing on better pitches, but it's not easy. It's not growth season yet in Joburg. I know Orlando Stadium, people spoke about that it underwent a process of regrowth, but it's still not in great condition because it's the wrong time of the season. And possibly our stadiums need more time to rest. You know, I don't think they get a lot of time because there's a lot of competitions that are taking place, be it football, be it rugby, be it entertainment. Sometimes the entertainment, the musicians or whatever that they use the stadiums for, those stadiums take a beating. You know, we're not like Europe, but we have our own stadiums that no one else utilizes. So United, for example, when the season ended, they had a good 6-7 weeks to prep that stadium and get it back in good condition. We don't have that luxury.
Thank you so much, Coach. I think I'm not seeing any. Okay, let's go to Yolulwe from News from Africa. That will be the last question.
Thanks. So, Coach Yolulwe, Coach News from Africa. Coach, I don't know how much time you've had to look at your opponents for the weekend because you also had a frantic schedule and they've played, you played as well. But if you have had an opportunity to observe, are there any differences, or what would be the differences from this particular Stellenbosch squad to the ones that you've previously struggled against? And what aspects would you then be looking at and saying if you exploit those, then you might have a little bit of joy against them this weekend?
I don't think there's much change, to be honest, because I think Stellenbosch, in terms of their recruitment, I think they're one of the best in the league, because it's like for like. Whenever they lose a talented player, they tend to bring in someone with pretty much the same qualities. You know, they've lost quite a few players over the past 2-3 seasons, but from my assessment, having watched them, there's very little difference. If there's one big change, is the performance of De Jong. As an example, in the beginning when he arrived, he struggled to get into the team, but now he's become a stalwart, you know, and you know, the brand of football hasn't changed. It's definitely still the exact same brand of football. And they've created a culture there at that club that whatever new player joins, like Sanele Barnes, when he joined, he struggled in the beginning, but now he's found his feet, and he's become the threat that we all saw when he was at Richards Bay. But there's a culture there, and everybody must now adhere to that culture. You know, the brand of football doesn't change because they signed someone new. You know, the brand of football stays exactly the same.
Coach, thank you so much. We're going to end it here. All the best for Saturday.
Thank you.
Colleagues, we are going to